this is Verna from StampinNotes.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Western New York in a small little town of Canisteo, actually outside of town, and I live on a farm with my husband, and we have lots of animals and we have lots of family around us, which is great. Anyways, I want to show you today how to make this card with heat embossing powder, white heat embossing powder, and how to color on it with Stampin' Blends. You can see I've colored this large butterfly, and I've used the new beautiful butterfly bouquet. This will be available to order March 2nd. It has a gorgeous stamp set. You can see the butterflies are all on one large stamp, and these are the images for the stamping of the artwork of the butterflies. Also, there's the Brilliant Wings dies that goes with this. The intricate detail, it will cut out the butterflies, and it also has one sheet, one huge die that will cut all of these shapes out at once. Gorgeous paper, butterfly Bayou paper, and Natural Touch specialty paper. These are the dies here. These are the separate butterfly dies. And then there are these other small dies here to add texture to your embossing. So this is a large die. I'm gonna put a piece of black paper, cardstock behind it so you can see it better. You can stamp all your butterflies in one stamp, and then you can die cut them out, and this will cut them all out separately. And what's really cool is it works with the Designer Series paper. I'll grab a sheet with the butterflies on it. Here's the Designer Series paper, and you just lay this die on over the butterflies here, and it will die cut all of those out. Isn't that cool? I have a few here that I die cut out earlier. And the Designer Series paper is just beautiful. I'll show you. It comes 6 by 6, and look at that, I love that. 6 by 6 with all different kinds of pastel and gorgeous butterfly design. Your paper pieces that you need are a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock, and this is the normal size, 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. All right, and we need a piece of basic black paper that's 5 1/4 by 4, and this is what we're going to stamp on. I also need a piece of Designer Series paper. Here's our DSP piece. It's 5 1/4 by 4, and that's just going to stick out on the end like that because we're going to cut this down here. So I'm going to use my Stamparatus. Stamparatus is a tool that helps ensure that your stamping images come out the way they should. And what's nice about it is you stamp it, and then if it doesn't come out right that time, you can restamp it. It's really a wonderful tool to have. Because this is such a large image, I'm going to use this. This mat that I just took out is for photopolymer stamps, and so this is a cling stamp. I don't need that big mat. Okay, so I'm going to put this right up in the corner here in this because these magnets that we usually use to hold down our cardstock will be in the way of this large butterfly stamp. So I'm going to I'm pushing that towards this corner, and I've got a piece of glue dot there. I am going to put it right here. This is where I want it on my cardstock. I'm going to take the cover and press down, lift it up. I'm going to ink up my stamp with Versamark ink like this. And I am going to make sure that's right up in the corner there. And I'm going to bring that down and stamp, and I'm going to press really good, especially on this side, that is near the corner because of the hinges, the stamps don't sit as low on the cardstock. And what's great about the Stamparatus is if you're using regular ink, you can see it better. But if you're using this, it's harder to see, but it looks to me like we've got a pretty good images there. One thing I forgot to do was run the embossing buddy over this before I did my stamping. It helps remove static, and hopefully we won't get a lot of little pieces of powder all over the place. We'll see what happens here. All right, I'm gonna bring in a piece of just scrap paper and my white embossing powder. I'm gonna sprinkle this on here like this. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think we got pretty good coverage. And flick it off there. I have a little brush, paint brush, that I saved for this. I'm just gonna take it and wipe off carefully these extra little pieces of powder that I don't want on there. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my Heat and Emboss gun. Whoops. First I want to get this powder back in the little jar. All right. Okay, this is the heat gun, the Heat and Emboss gun, and it gets really hot. It has a low setting and a higher setting on it. I'm going to let it warm up a minute. And then you just hold this over the embossing powder. It will melt and you will see it change. You want to move it around. You don't want to keep it in one spot. Okay, and you can see I've got a little boo-boo here. I'm going to find a creative way to cover that. You learn to be very creative with little mistakes when you're stamping. I've got about a 24-inch piece of ribbon, and I'm going to wrap this around it and make a bow on this side here. Stuck on that little glue dot I had there. We'll put our bow kind of up here. I think on the other one the bow was down a little farther, but kind of like it up there. Okay, and we don't want it, I don't want it quite that big. I'm gonna pull it down a little bit. So we have a nice bow, and this ribbon is organdy striped ribbon. It's like the petal pink color. It's so pretty. I'm gonna take a glue dot and just anchor that down a little bit so it doesn't move around. I'm gonna bring my Take a Pick tool and just put this glue dot under there and anchor that right in place there to help that not move. I'm gonna snip off my ends like that. The next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna cut off this end here because I want that pink strip to show. Go around it like this. And I'm going to put it over to the right here on the Designer Series paper. It's pretty. show you, and now I'm going to show you how to color the butterfly with the Stampin' Blends, and it's so easy. I'm using Dark Melon Mambo, and I'm just going to come in with this and draw over the white like that. You don't need to worry too much about it getting on the black beneath because it's not going to show. And we're just going to swipe over it like this. I'm just making really light brush strokes. All right, now I'm going to mount this on my cardstock, and I'm using thick Whisper White, 5.5 by 8.5. And I'm going to, oh, isn't that pretty? I'm going to take my glue and go around the edges here, a little bit in the middle. And we're going to pop this down on this, like this. This sentiment is from the Touch of Ink stamp set, which is a celebration item. This says, "Hello, friend." I'm just going to cut it off here right about like this. That looks a little crooked. Okay, so I'm going to come in with my sentiment. I'm going to put it right here on the bottom of the ribbon with Stampin' Dimensionals. Dimensionals make everything pop. They just add a little bit of depth. We'll put that right there like that. And now we need some bling. We're going to put a big one right here. And then gradually get smaller. It's really windy here. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it in my studio here. The wind's just a blowing. Okay, so, and we'll want some up here on this one. One, probably 3. 2 and 3. Okay, hello friend. So for our inside, I'm gonna put, I've already used this butterfly that was die cut out, and I'm gonna put this on the inside. I always usually put an inside sentiment piece in. It just makes the card heavier and it lays better. It doesn't warp. It looks nicer. So go around like this. Put this in here. There. So there's our card. Hello, friend. And you open it up and there's a beautiful butterfly inside, and here's our other one. Thanks for stopping by today. I hope you have a good week. I'll see you next week. Take care.